In this episode of Mighty Car Mods, it's the moment that a lot of people have been waiting for. We are going to attempt to start the Mira.
Welcome to another episode of Mighty Car Mods. In this episode, we're going to fill this thing full of fluids, we're going to stick our interior in, we're going to fix every suspension, mechanical sticks coming, and we're going to get this thing started.
We actually are. You sound committed, Martin.
I'm so committed, so frothing. I want to hear it. I want to hear the song of the Mira.
The song of a person.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this.
All good journeys have to start somewhere, and today's journey is going to start with the interior. It's fiddly, there's a stack of nuts and bolts that I didn't label that are scattered all over the firewall. Luckily for me, all the parts are light and in pretty good condition, so with the heater boxes and my new JDM aircon in place, I can install the dash pad and then plug everything in. The steering shaft is bolted onto the mad electric rack, and then the trim covers can go on and the entire steering wheel assembly bolted in place. Next, I can run the wiring loom to the back of the car. I'm going to use the Australian one as all the pins in the wiring loom are the same as the Japanese one, so my tail, reverse and number plate lights should all function properly. With it plugged into the fuse box at the front of the car, it's time to throw in the rest of the interior.
It's quite a lot to do on the Mira to get it usable, but what we're going to do first is we're going to do an interior. We're going to put all this back together. I've run the wiring for the tailgate and the tail lights and a few other things, which is all in there now, which is cool. So we can start to piece the interior back together, which is pretty exciting because now it's got its Japanese floor. All the interior parts should fit it. And then we'll work our way forward. We'll put the front seats in. We'll check all that wiring's right. We're going to plug our ECU in. We're going to plug in our mystery KYB steering controller.
Have the first sniff, Martin. Are you ready? The first sniff of Japan, of butt seat.
Sweet, fuely.
Sweet, fuely soy sauce bomb.
So much. And then we're going to start to put the front of the car together as well. Mechanical Steve's got some magic to work down here on the rear end, working his magic on the rear end.
This looks pretty clean, Martin.
We're going to put the front together. The interior was pretty good. It was probably the only part of the car that was clean, man.
That's amazing.
Everything else is...
It actually doesn't smell like anything other than squid and soy.
That's good.
It's very good.
Let's put it in.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay out all of the interior parts that we have in plastic because we haven't actually seen all of this stuff unwrapped yet. I'm going to lay it out kind of like the interior of the car, and then we're going to see what we've got and what we don't got. Hopefully we got everything. And then once we've got it all laid out, we'll get the carpet, put that in the car, which Marty's vacuuming at the moment. Once the carpet's in, we can start putting all of this in and get this car finished off.
First things first, we have to take our interior for a test drive.
Map, 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 What? Maps. At least do the seat push, man. Ready? Maps.
So this is a aftermarket adjustable panhard rod from a Micra.
From a Nissan Micra.
A Nissan Micra.
So why are we putting Nissan parts in my Daihatsu?
Well, unfortunately, we can't actually find the factory panhard rod.
I think it rusted into a million pieces is what likely happened.
Yeah, possibly. So I had this lying around from a wreck, and I was like, oh, that might be handy. and hopefully it will be handy.
So what are you going to do to it to make it fit?
I've had just a quick eyeball, and it looks like we're going to have to cut about 100 mil out of the length. I was a little bit worried about it at the start, but then I pulled apart. It's literally just a piece of tube with a nut welded to it.
Oh.
So all we're going to do is cut the nut off and then move the nut up.
Yep.
And then replace this bush here as well for one that has the correct internal diameter. We'll be pretty well right.
What is the purpose of this part though?
So the panhard rod in a solid axle car will stop the diff moving left to right.
Attaches the diff to the body,
so
right?
it joins, on the one side of the car it's joined to the body, and the other side of the car it's joined to the diff. This is a pretty basic way to do it. There's other ways as well, but for this car, the panhard rod's going to be fine.
And adjustable ones are good when you're lowering stuff, right? Because then the geometry changes and you can make it be the right length, otherwise it pushes around.
Yeah, so if you ran this length now and then lowered the car, it's effectively going to push the diff to one side.
Yeah, okay.
So now we can actually shorten or lengthen the rod depending on the eventual ride height to give you the exact right offset of the diff, so you're not driving down the road sideways.
So Mugi's going to get us some springs from the wreckers, Mira springs,
cool.
and then we whack the springs in and we're good to go.
Now we can drive it.
Mad. Chop it, Benny.
Let's do it.
Panhard rods are called panhard rods because the Panhard Automobile Company of France invented them. Also known as track bars, they locate the axle laterally under the car. The Mira now has a solid axle, which means that diff, axles, brakes and wheels are all tied together and move as one. It's basic, but it's cheap to manufacture and it gets the job done.
Because there's so many Mira parts lying around, it's starting to get a bit confusing which ones are the Japanese ones and which ones are the Australian ones, but the Japanese one is all black inside, so this one that we just put in handbrake was grey.
Looks fancier, but it's actually...
looks fancy, but that one there actually comes up through some kind of crazy center console thing, so that's, if it's black it goes in, and if it's not, it doesn't.
Next we can unwrap the JDM interior pieces, which have been beaten up by time and will probably require some retrimming to get perfect again. Then a quick dig through the box of bolts and bracketry uncovers the rear seat mounting gear.
$186 we are, Martin, and look at the room.
It's pretty good. I reckon there's some things missing on there, because I reckon these should fold down.
Well, it would make sense that you can fold them down to put stuff in the boot, but at the moment they're bolted in.
Yeah, because all this stuff would have been disassembled when the half cut came apart. So we've never seen it. I mean, last time we saw it we were sideways and we weren't looking at the back of these. So I think all that stuff's going to be a bit of a puzzle. But I reckon we just keep putting in the stuff that we can get in. The seat works, like it's totally safe and good to go. So if I find clips for it that means it can fold, then that's great, but that can be a later thing.
There will be a mechanism, and someone out there will tell us, even if they don't know, they'll tell us anyway.
Yeah.
Even though by the time they see this, we would have worked it out.
Hopefully. What sometimes happens when you have seats outside of cars, if you sit on them, on garage floors, you can bend these if they're vertical, they can sometimes go flat, and then in this situation they won't fit anymore, so...
I was waiting for that just to snap off.
Oh no, it's not ideal. Be careful, don't bend your seats, because you really shouldn't do that too many times, you fatigue the metal.
Drifting under rainbows.
While Moog is at the wreckers getting our rear springs, I'm going to install the centre console and gear knob, as well as reconnect the ignition coil and tidy up some wiring.
So we're getting a...
So this bush is too small, so...
Which part of it's too small? The inner?
The inner's, yes, the inner's the wrong side. I have your Mira springs, Martin. Sorry to disturb you, but it's very exciting because this means we can actually put these on the shocks and we can actually drive the car today, which is what we've promised everyone.
Why are the tops of those?
We do have to modify them. We got to probably chop that ring off, chop that ring off, chop that ring off,
man, that's actually not even funny.
What?
Like I asked you to get Mira springs, man.
What do you mean?
That's not even funny.
It's gonna fit a Mira,
That's
man.
not even fun. It's not gonna fit a
Of course
freaking
it
Mira.
is.
It's a totally different car. And you did that on purpose.
Of course
you
it's
got
gonna
Yaris stuff on purpose, man, just to piss me off.
No, I didn't.
Why do you want
Benny,
me to get a Yaris so bad?
Benny,
you can't
is
just
that
start
gonna
putting
fit?
Yaris stuff in my car and then...
We're going to make it fit, see?
He's
That's my
on board
favourite
as
thing
well.
about Benny. He's not on board. That's from a Micra. This is from a Yaris. We're getting all the good cars in there, man.
Freaking rubbish. You're doing this on purpose. You're just trying to
out. He's out.
You're just trying to
He's gone.
change my car into a freaking Yaris.
Wow.
Why would you change it into... I asked you for L200 springs. Just put L200 springs in it,
Cool story, man. Come and help me with this. Come on,
I'm
man.
not putting Yaris crap in
come
my
on,
car.
man.
Don't make me.
Of course, we're putting Yaris crap in the car. That's
Why
what we
would
do.
you make me put Yaris crap in the car?
Look at your
What
sunnies,
possible
man.
reason?
Look at that.
It's
Look
to
at your
hide my
sunnies.
tears, man, 'cause
You're
I'm-
happy to
I'm
wear
actually
ugly stuff
upset.
on your face. We put ugly stuff in the ugly car.
Upset about it, man, because I don't want this Yaris rubbish.
Catch. Are you ready? Catch. You ready? Catch. There you go. And one more. And don't drop them, because see, I can tell because you caught them that you care. That's how I can. So this is the spring seat here that Marty got in Japan that is made for Daihatsu. And what I'm going to do is cut these Yaris springs down until I actually fit this. Now this is not like a permanent install here, but the springs that we had in the car in Japan have gone AWOL. We don't know where they are. Maybe they rage quit with Marty. Hopefully he'll be back soon actually. But until then, I'm going to cut the top, cut the bottom, make this fit the shocks, put that on, and then we are one step closer to our all-wheel drive skids.
Here we go now.
Pretty stoked we got some Yaris stuff in this car after all. Martin, your Yaris springs are in, mate, as you can see.
Fantastic, thanks, man.
We've got a...
Did you just purposely got not Mira ones? I bet you even had them as well, and you were just like, oh no, I'll just pass, and I'll get the Yaris ones because they won't fit, and I have to use an angle grinder.
No, I purposely helped us finish the car, Martin.
Thank you, mate. Much appreciated.
It is going to be awesome, isn't it, Martin?
I've got custom brake lines made by Mechanical Stig up here, and I'm pretty excited about them.
That's amazing.
Brand new and awesome looking.
He's a clever dude. It's nice to have clever people in the room, Martin. You've got to be the dumbest person in the room, I think. I read somewhere.
Happens to me a lot. Because I painted the bay, I'm going to run a tap through any of the holes that attach to things like earths, because if these things aren't contacting properly, which is quite possible if you go straight into paint with a bolt, it doesn't actually contact properly, then you get mad sort of earthing issues, which usually presents itself as just gremlins like car not starting or stuff just not working. It gets really annoying, so I'm going to make sure that the threads are clean.
We are getting close to being able to try and start this thing. With the body loom now grounded back to the body of the car, the intercooler installed, and various sensors reconnected, we can now drain any residual oil from the engine and change the filter. Next, we're going to bleed the brakes, which will require a lot of fluid as the rear line is completely empty. Cracking the bleed nipples and pumping the pedal will squeeze out any air bubbles in the lines.
It's time to start putting fluids into this mad car. This is where things start to get a little bit different. On this transmission, which is totally different from the Aussie one, you'd normally expect to see the drain just at the bottom of the gearbox here. Instead, it's up the back, like connected to this transfer case, and there's some printing on the box that says TM oil drain, which is a transmission oil drain. Then it says TF oil for transfer, and it has a little arrow saying that they're separate, and so you don't get them confused and put the wrong kind of oil in. We don't actually know what kind of oil to put in it, but that's got oil in it for sure, but we're not 100% about the gearbox. So we're going to drain this. Oh, it's the weirdest moistness on my ear hole. So we're going to drain this one. We've got to crack the filler first. Actually, they can't do it without a mallet or some help from my friend here.
Fist me at the same time. 1, 2, 3, go.
Oh, well done. And once we crack the filler, we know we can actually get all back into it. We crack this, drain it into a thing, drain it out, put some manual transmission gear oil in it, and then work out what's happening with the transfer.
We're going to install a brand new oil filter and then refill the turbo motor with Castrol Edge 540. Next, I can fill the gearbox via a funnel and fish tank tube until it pours out the filler hole. All that's left to do is reconnect the fuel pump and then siphon in some fresh 98 octane fuel into the tank.
So we've got heaps done today. And Martin, did we say it's driving today or did we say it's going to start today?
I have no idea. But to drive it would need to start. So starting is the first step anyway.
I think we said it was going to start today.
Yeah. But I mean, it should drive too. But the thing is, if we put the wheels on it, put it on the ground, do all that kind of stuff, and then it doesn't start, we have to jack it up and do all that all over again.
Yeah.
So I'd rather start it, make sure it starts, and then I can jump it and put wheels on it.
Yeah, cool.
But all that's left to do is put in some ECUs. Now I have the KYB ECU, which as we've learned, because we asked people and someone told us, and because we also figured it out straight away afterwards, that this is the power steering ECU, so that's got to go back in.
And this is the actual ECU, the Daihatsu Denso Made in Japan ECU. So let's plug it in, Martin, and let's turn the key. Can you feel the excitement?
I really want it to start.
Part of that speaker just fell off.
Yeah, lots of parts keep falling off.
The ECUs are plugged in, and now it's the moment of truth.
All right, so this is now all together as the half cut was together, and that ran. It's got fuel, it's got a fuel pump, which hopefully is right around the right way. And it'll have a battery now.
So that relay turned out, Benny found out, was just the hazard light button was pressed in, but because there's no indicators yet, it was just screaming off its face.
Of all the things it could be. So it's got no radio, so we're not going to run it for long. We're just going to see if it even starts at all.
Do you think it's actually going to start, Martin?
I don't know, but I'm really nervous.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I need to go to the toilet.
Really?
Yeah, do a nervous wee.
If it doesn't work, I'm not even joking, we could get a Yaris. No, turn the key, man, do it.
Fuel pump primed. Back windscreen wipers going. I don't know. I
Front windscreen wipers are now going.
I don't know how to turn that off. I turned it off. Hey.
All right, let's do it.
We got reds. Here we go. Nothing.
Clutch in maybe?
Nah. Surely not. No.
Battery?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
Let me get a jumper pack, everyone.
Jumper pack.
Oh, here it is. We're gonna get it done, people. One way or another.
Suspense.
The suspense is living me. Whatever that means. Means I'm feeling alive at the prospect of this little Daihatsu Yaris.
Try again.
All right, Martin, let's try it.
Cranks.
It cranks. That's good.
That's a good start.
Check engine light.
Yeah, but should I go off?
Oh, if it's on, it means the ECU's at least getting power.
Yep. It'll have fuel. It should have spark. Could just be a wiring thing, hey?
There's no funky immobilizer or anything in it?
Don't think there was any. I don't think there's any immobilizer stuff.
There's only that weird like turbo timer relay.
Oh yeah, that was the only thing
Stuff.
that was in it. Was a turbo timer,
That shouldn't.
which I've plugged everything back in, but there could have been something hacked under there that I haven't seen.
It had like extra wiring that ran down the front. remember?
Coils definitely plugged in.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a weird relay on it.
There is fuel in the tank, spark at the plugs, and the engine turns over. But crank as we might, it just won't run. By letting this half cut sit around on the shelf for so long, we may have made things difficult for ourselves. The engine just isn't getting any fuel delivered. Our next solution is to try a starting fluid which can be sprayed into the intake, giving the spark plug something to ignite, and hopefully get the engine running.
Whoa. It made noises.
And it runs, sort of.
It's not happy, but it's running.
It starts, man. We said it was going to start. It starts. We didn't say it was going to drive. I mean, we did, but that was like 14 episodes ago.
It doesn't count if it's on aero start. It's like Viagra for your car.
It started. We said it would start. It started.
You can't, like, it's like hanging out the window down the highway holding some Aerostart.
Viagra still works, man.
So close.
Like a thing is a thing.
It still goes. Anyway,
Oh, Martin, the disappointment's real, isn't it?
we have run out of time, but next
The good
time.
news is
next
we're
time,
buying a Yaris.
Oh my God, we're never
Shall
buying
we?
a Yaris.
We're actually not. Anyone who is hoping for a Yaris, we're not buying one.
We got some ideas of how we're going to make this little thing work. So next time on Mighty Car Mods, we're going to get this thing running on its own juice. But until that time, you can follow our Faceballs on faceballs.com/Marty's Mad Mirrors with yarissprings.com. Is that it?
That's all of it, man. Or you could just go back and watch all the mini videos.
Do that too.
If you want to see. No, let's not be cruel. Let's be. I'm really excited about
VTech.
going out for dinner. Let's go.
I
Let's
want
do it,
those-
Martin.
Can we get those seasoned, those Texas seasoned
A Texas seasoned chip.
chips?
Do you think they're made with the money of a Texan oil magnate?
I don't know.